while I'm stopped here for a second, I want to just read some notes I've made of the vehicle because I'm starting to take notes on these things. Try to get better at my job. If you've been watching me for any period of time, I've basically been winging it for far too long. And I think I need to write some stuff down. I'm also getting older. So, welcome to the interior of a vehicle that I've been waiting to drive for quite some time. This is the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. It is back. No, it's not the 300 series. This is the 250. This is the Prado. I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I think this is very right-sized for the Land Cruiser space. It's nice and narrow. It's nice and stubby. So you get good approach, breakover and departure angles. Better than the GX, in fact. I'm just trying to look at my line here because there's some chunky stuff ahead of me. This is a wonderful vehicle. I think it looks super cool. The styling is excellent. Let's just mosey on up here. And the power is great. First, let's talk style though. I'm trying to do this in an order so that when I write the YouTube chapters, it makes my life easier instead of me just rambling, trying to figure that shit out. Style-wise, this thing looks great. You can tell it's a Land Cruiser, and that's a victory right there, but it looks like a brand new Land Cruiser. I love the design language. This paint color works well on it with the two-tone. I don't love black wheels. I'm over black wheels. They just disappear into the bodywork, and the wheel designer goes, does all this work and like, we're gonna offer them in black, and I'm sure the wheel designer goes, come on, like I want white wheels to start making a move or a comeback, or just I don't need everything to be chrome, but like copper wheels look good on certain applications and certain colors, but enough black wheels. Like, what's the point? And then tire-wise, I know, well, we get into that when we talk performance and capability. So style-wise, yeah, I like that they did the split rear opening in the back. You got to keep it like that. This first edition has some great mud flaps. It gets the round headlights instead of the square headlights, which I'll discuss when I go over the trims. But the grille looks good with the Toyota lettering. They nailed the styling of this. It looks fantastic. I will say I think the Lexus GX is slightly more handsome and appealing, but it's a Lexus, so I think that actually works well. So you go like, the Land Cruiser looks a little tougher. The GX looks a little sharper. That's a great way to do it, in fact. Slide inside, these seats are comfortable. This is a first edition, so you automatically get the better screen and the top spec JBL 14 speaker sound system. I've got Onyx up for the trail I'm on. I'm on Maple Springs Truck Trail because it's open, which is nice, and it's empty because it's midweek. It's actually Friday, woo. So you can see everything nice and easy. It looks good. The gauges, the digital gauge cluster is easy to read. The base model comes with an 8-inch screen, then there's this screen, and then there's like a mid-tier sound system as well for the Land Cruiser version, whereas the base 1958 gets I think there's 3 sound systems, which that's kind of stupid. Just do 2 sound systems, or just give them all a good sound system, because it is a Land Cruiser. It's not an inexpensive vehicle. But again, inside is nice. GX difference there is you can get those as 3 rows, though if you were going to buy one, you were asking me which one to get the Overtrail 2-row. This is only a 2-row, which is fine for me. If you need more space to put people and stuff, sure, the 3 rows, but a lot of you are lying about the need for a 3-row anyway, and those seats are going to be folded forever, so just get the GX and just get rid of them. The layout feels Toyota good. I like the Toyota script on the steering wheel. Everything falls readily to hand. All your buttons are right here, which is nice for your differentials, your stabilizer bar, traction control, not that you're sliding this thing around, and then the four high, four low right here. Then just to the left of the gear selector is where your drive mode selector is, and then it's like it works three ways, because below that are three buttons. One is drive mode, which is basically your on-road drive modes, and then MTS, the terrain management system, those are your off-road drive modes, and then there's the crawl control system below that. Steering wheel buttons work nice and well, you know, change song, change volume. I appreciate all that, so I can look up at the head-up display, because I really like head-up displays, so I can just quickly glance and see how far over the speed limit I am, which right now I'm not, because we're just crawling up this basically single track. I mean, single and a half maybe in spots, but like this, a lot of it is washed out, and we're in a loose spot, climbing to the highest point of Orange County, California. Now let's get into performance now. So under the hood, we've got that 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired with it's a hybrid. There's 2 electric motors. Power is great, 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. You feel it off the line. Acceleration is wonderful. Like the Tacoma, there's a bit of turbo whistle occasionally that you catch, which is kind of fun. The gearbox, I have no issues with the gearbox. Sometimes I kind of wish I had a paddle, but those moments are few and far between. When I need to pass people on the highway at downshifts where I need to downshift, you know, put it in sport and it'll do all the stuff you want it to do. I also appreciate the on-road drive. Oh shit, that is a fucking dope-ass helicopter. Hold on. Look. Wowzer. Okay, that was unexpected. That was cool. It's a Forester, they're just doing a touch and go, tons of dust. Because if they were gonna stop up there, I was gonna peek. That was cool. I don't know why. I think I speak for all men and some women. I don't want to be sexist here, and anything else in between that you are. When you see a helicopter, you're like, whoa! I'm 43. If I was 3, if I was 83, I don't know why helicopters are like, oh, cool. So the suspension, I appreciate that this has a more simple suspension setup than the Lexus GX, even though I really like the setup in the GX with its EKDSS. This nosedives under braking, which I always appreciate in my off-road vehicles because it lets me know that there's travel. I'm not sitting on an airbag system where something will fail on the trail and I'll be fucked. Looking at you, Range Rover. Even though there's a robust system, I like simplicity when you're off-roading, you know, mixed with some complication as it relates to that stabilizer bar. So it does dive under nose, but like in a way that's comfortable and reassuring, like a Raptor does. The suspension feels good. The brakes, as I mentioned, there's like a weird, slight modulation at low speeds that is like, it's for a blink of an eye, but it's weird and it bothers me. But after that, they grab good and they feel good through the braking range, through different speeds. So I actually do like the brakes. It's just some weird initial tuning. They're not bad. It's probably a me thing, to be totally honest. Steering is nicely weighted on this. I have no qualms when I'm doing more than the speed limit on the freeway, and then out here on the trail, it is nice and comfortable. And then while we're driving, these seats there's great. They're nice. And why can't I talk right now? That helicopter blew my mind. They're padded nicely. I'm comfortable. My butt feels good. You can extend the lower cushion for more upper leg support towards the knee, which is also nice. And then visibility is great. I've got good visibility forward. Let me see. Yeah, I can see. There's a little bit of a. There always is back there though. But you've got the cameras. You've got blind spot monitoring. So here's something I want to talk about is some people are mentioning the payload capacity or the lack thereof, but I think people's math isn't mathing. The gross vehicle weight rating on this is 6,835 pounds. The curb weight is 5,038 pounds. That gives you a payload of between 1,600 and 1,700 pounds, depending on how it's equipped. There's a little sticker on this that says the way this one is equipped, because it's a US market vehicle, it loses like 170 pounds. Even factoring that in, this has a better payload capacity than the GX. This has, it's basically on par with the Ranger, which pickup trucks are always gonna have better gross vehicle weight rating. And then there's no reason to compare this to like an F-150. For this size of SUV, that seems like a pretty good number, because let's say you have 5 200-pounders in here. You still have 16 to 1,700 pounds left over on top of that. A full tank of gas is about, just call it 110 pounds for this vehicle. You still have plenty of stuff to carry. And I'm not going camping with 4 fucking dudes in this. So I don't know why people are complaining about the gross vehicle weight rating on this. It seems pretty darn perfect for this. And I'm happy with it. Now, some things that are interesting is fuel economy. Toyota says 23 miles per gallon combined. I'm getting in the mid 17s. I'm up here off-roading, so I'm dropping to the high 16s, which isn't great, but I'm not driving this thing easily. I drove it to Willow Springs and back the other day, and I was doing between 85 and 90 on the freeway just to get out there. That's just how fast you go. And I was in the 17th, so I thought that was pretty good for a brick of an SUV doing what it does. I'm sure the average person who drives this will be up around 20, which for an off-road focused SUV, I'm happy with. There's something stupid that every time you start the car, when the climate control turns on, you have to hit AC on every time. It doesn't just remember that you had the AC on and default to just keeping it on. I don't get that. I can't think of another car, modern new car, that also does that. I have to remember to hit. I'm like, why is this not blowing? Oh, duh, AC's not on. That's stupid. This versus the GX. The GX has more power. The GX can tow about 2,000 more pounds, and it has EKDSS. So it has a smarter suspension system. Looks are subjective. I think both look cool. I think the GX looks slightly cooler. It is definitely nicer inside, and it costs more money, but not like an insane amount compared to this first edition. I think they've priced them right, where, like the base model 1958 Land Cruiser starts in the, 58-ish. And then this one is in the high 60s, and then the GX starts in the 60s and goes on up. So I think they've priced them right. Do you want a fancy one? You get the Lexus, and then, more power is nice too if you need the third row, but of the GXs, I'm recommending the Overtrail. I don't love the tires on this one. I wish you could spec proper all-terrains, but that's an easy aftermarket fix. I do like that it has 18s, so you can put good chunky tires on this. The trim walk is kind of silly. 1958 is the base. You get the round headlights, and it's pretty Spartan inside, which I appreciate that, offering them that. Then the mid-grade is the Land Cruiser. Come on. That's ridiculous. There's got to be some better name than that, but whatever. That goes with square headlights and offers a much nicer interior compared to the base one. This is the first edition, which is, for the first model year running, gets all of the nice features and then kind of the styling of the 1958 on the outside. You get those cool mud flaps, which I love the look of them. They almost look rally raid inspired. Something I wanted to do on my Montero is you add the extra piece to it so it hangs there properly. It has a really cool, almost Australian look to it, which works really well here. But I think this is priced right, and it leads into the Lexus GX perfectly, and then obviously the LX takes over from there, because that's an expensive machine. I am very happy with this Land Cruiser. Were I shopping, I'd want the GX Overtrail. I love that. The Nori green paint, the EKDSS, the cargo space of not having the third row, more power, Mark Levinson sound system. Ooh, it's a sound stage. This JBL's fine, but Mark Levinson, kicks it up a notch. So I would want the GX. I think the Land Cruiser is badass, and I cannot wait to see more and more of these with chunky tires and stripped away bits of the body to have a bit more protection. This first edition does get a skid plate and side rails, which is nice, and the side rails are really nicely tucked in there, so it's not ruining the lines of the car. They don't look like those goofy ones that are also, I don't like the ones that are also steps. I know you short kings out there will appreciate those. I don't need it. Sorry, 6'3", reporting for duty. So I'll lift you up. I'll put you on my shoulders. But the side steps, the side steps or side rails are tucked in nicely. They look like robust pieces of metal, and I appreciate that. The tires here are a weak point. This is wearing some Michelin LTXs, which is like, I guess, a light duty trail tire. I understand it's nice for on the road stuff, but so is like a Yokohama Geolander, which I believe the base model actually gets. That's a more aggressive on-trail tire while still being a proper on-road tire. That's why Subaru uses them across their Wilderness family of vehicles. I'm not saying it's a KO2, but I think it's a fantastic compromise tire because there's not a tremendous amount of road noise. There's not, you know, I don't know what the hell this tire is. I don't have a lot of experience with it. I don't trust. I love Michelin and BFG, you know, they're sister companies, but I don't trust the sidewall on this because I don't really know anything about it, whereas I look at a KO2, someday I hope when the KO3 start delivering in a year from now, for my size, for the Montero, I look at that tire and go, I mean, I can drive that through a brick wall, I could drive that over just mountains of glass, I could drive it over the pointiest rocks, and I have a pretty darn good chance of making it unscathed on the other side, and that's what I want in an off-road tire. So first thing I would be doing if I bought a Land Cruiser, because if you're buying a Land Cruiser, let's go places. I'm gonna use Toyota's own tagline there. So let's put proper, tough tires on it. You could be a Toyo person, you could be a Falcon person. I'm a BFG person, and I hear your complaints, and I don't agree with any of them. The KO2 and KO3, I assume KO3 because it's an improved KO2, are king of the mountain, and I will not hear arguments against because you're wrong. It is just a tougher tire. So that's why people win Baja with them. Back to the Land Cruiser. So I am a huge fan. This thing is fantastic. I think people's math is wrong. And from people I really trust and appreciate their opinion on off-road stuff. They know their stuff. I really think they misplaced a number, or they have the curb weight wrong on this, or maybe I do, but my math feels pretty darn correct, and 16 to 1700 plus pounds of payload for this size SUV is fine. I'm not loading this with, again, 5 adults. We're not all sleeping in the heaviest rooftop tent with 2 fridges and batteries and extra. Like some people, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some Land Cruiser person's like, I need to traverse Africa and you need a lot of stuff. And even then, it's probably just 2 of you. There's still payload. I'm not great at math, but I think I'm right here. Please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. That was a good one. So this has been, by the way, even with that, I didn't feel the suspension like nail into the end of its travel there. I don't know what the jounce situation is in this. I probably should have looked that up. I don't know if they're hydraulic or I don't think they are. So whatever the jounce situation, that's like a Raptor thing. Whatever the jounce situation, which is, you know, where you reach the limit of your travel on the suspension, is extremely comfortable and well designed and set up on this, because I've had a few compressions where I was waiting for a hit and the hit doesn't come. It just kind of reminds me of mountain bike suspension, like especially a rear coil spring, where if you have the right coil, man, is that perfectly, wonderfully progressive. And if you're reaching the end of the travel on your rear coil, whoo, you're hitting some hits, which I'm not. I'm not a send it shredder, even though in my head I'm like, oh man, I got like 6 feet of air, and it's like the back tire barely saw daylight. I am rambling now, like I said I wouldn't. Here's the synopsis. This thing kicks ass. I'm very happy with it. I know people are like, it's not a 300 series. No shit. I actually love the size of this. I like that Toyota broke up the family so that you weren't choosing Land Cruiser or LX. If you want the LX, or 300 series, you got to get the 600. If you want a nicer version of this with a little bit more power, you get the GX. And then if you want just the OG, because we're going back to the right size of what the Land Cruiser was or used to be. Yeah, the 100 and the 200 are fucking amazing trucks. But so is the 80 and the 60 and even the 40 as a tractor that it is. I love it. 250, thumbs up. you're shopping for one, yeah, get one. Ooh, get real tires so you don't have to cringe at certain size rocks hanging out, and have a great time.